Joining us now, I'm pleased to say, from Amsterdam is Bob van Dijk, the CEO of Naspers. We saw him just a moment ago, opening the trading there in Amsterdam. Bob, great to have you with us on the programme. I was going to ask you what success would look like today, but I see that the shares trading, around 76 euros at the open. Is this beyond your expectations?
Yeah, we're very excited to be here first and foremost. It's great to have a new home for Prosus, and we're excited that there's been a good initial start. So we look forward to what's going to happen today.
Bob, do you expect this listing to significantly reduce the valuation gap between Naspers and its 31% holding in Tencent?
The main purpose of the Prosus listing is really to facilitate our next wave of growth. So we have become over time a really substantial part of our original exchange, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, where we're now close to 25% of the index. And what we realize as a company, we're still growing fast. We have organic growth rates that are in the 30% range. So that means we're going to keep growing, and we need the right place to keep growing from here, and that is Euronext.
And you, as Naspers, you still hold 73% of Prosus, though, Bob. So I wanted to ask you whether that number's going to change. Are you going to be allowing investors to have more access to Prosus as time goes on?
Yeah, we'll see how things go over time. I think what is important for us today is that we see that we can attract a great set of new investors into Prosus, and we look very much forward to making that happen, and that will obviously benefit Naspers, that will own around 75% of the new group.
What other business units? What are the other ones that you're going to focus on next, Bob? I mean, what are the other most fascinating, interesting business units you have at Naspers?
Yeah, we're very excited about the organic growth in the business. So we are operating the largest classifieds group in the world under mainly the OLX brand, which is growing at around 30%. And what it's really doing is making people, empowering people to trade secondhand goods, which we think is both good business and good for the world. We've also been investing for many years into online payments, so facilitating people in growth markets to pay with any instrument they have and participate in the online world. And finally, we started investing in online food delivery, which we believe is one of the biggest growth opportunities in the internet today.
Does it make sense, Bob, to have all of those businesses and those exciting opportunities under the same umbrella as your Tencent stake? By selling off some of those businesses that you've referenced there, could you perhaps close that gap a little further between the value of your Tencent stake and the Tencent listing?
Yeah, so there is certainly sort of a value discount that I think's been well published. We believe it's mainly due to technical issues that with Prosus we at least take a step towards resolving. There's a tremendous amount of synergy in the knowledge that we gather from these different businesses. For example, in India we operate in all our different segments. We co-invest with many of the top players, and I think because we are so broadly present in the market, we actually create a lot of value.
So do you see any other possibilities for share sales or listings?
You know, we've listed many companies in the past when we thought the time was right to capitalize on value. So we'll probably do it in the future. But today really is all about Prosus, because we think that is a major step for shareholders, also shareholders that are interested in investing in fast-growing, large-cap consumer tech in Europe, because previously there were not very many companies that actually fit that bill. So I think today is about Prosus, and I think we're very excited of being the kind of company we are.
What's been the reaction amongst the investment community in South Africa, Bob, to the move here? Clearly this has an impact on your dominance. What's been quite a big presence, and still is a very sizable presence in Johannesburg on that exchange.
I think it's been well received by South African investors who indeed, like because of our size, I think in many cases have been, if you will, maxed out in their portfolio on what they could hold in Naspers. And by doing this transaction, we'll create room for them to further invest in their portfolios. I think that process will actually facilitate for them having a slightly less concentrated portfolio, and I think that's been very welcome for our South African shareholders.
What about, as you've been traveling around with the Prosus roadshow, trying to drum up investor appetite, Bob? Clearly, we know a lot about the positives of the investment case, and that's clear to be seen in the reaction today. There is a lot of investor appetite. What's the one negative that they throw at you, the big question that they ask?
So we get obviously a lot of questions. I think investors have keen minds and are always critical. I think there were questions around, will this lead to any duplication in governance? And the good news is it actually won't. So because of a lot of similarities in listing requirements between the Euronext and the JSE, we're going to be able to have one board and one management team. So we're actually quite happy that these questions around will there be duplication, we can answer with the right answer.